Rotate's another modify tool. It's probably not one that I use every single day, but it's definitely one that you want to understand how it works. It's a pretty simple tool to operate. Hopefully by now you're getting comfortable with the with looking at the command line and seeing what AutoCAD's asking from you. And you can see there's a lot of consistency in the way AutoCAD commands work. So rotate's no different than that. It lines up with the other tools very well. So when I pick the rotate tool from the modify panel off the home ribbon, AutoCAD asks me to select the objects that I want to rotate. In this case, I want to rotate this line and this circle by 45 degrees. So the line and the circle is the only thing that I want to rotate. So once I have those selected, I'm going to right mouse click to advance the command. And now AutoCAD is asking me for the base point. The base point in the rotate tool is the pivot point. It's the place that you want to stay stationary and have the objects rotate about. So in this case, I'm wanting this endpoint, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, this endpoint to be the base point. And the angle that I wanted to rotate by was 45 degrees. So I type in 45 and I press enter, and so the part rotated 45 degrees counterclockwise. So that's an important thing to note. In AutoCAD, positive angles are counterclockwise, negative angles are clockwise. So we're going to do the same thing again here, except we're going to rotate this one clockwise 45 degrees by putting a negative 45. So I pick the rotate command, I select my circle, and I select my line. I use the endpoint. I right click to advance the command. When AutoCAD asks me to specify the base point, I'm going to use the endpoint here, or the midpoint of the cross. And for the reference angle this time, or for the angle, I'm going to put minus 45, and then that'll go clockwise 45 degrees. AutoCAD rotate tool has a reference option. I kind of like this. I use this occasionally. So maybe I wanted this angle between these two lines to change from 142 degrees to say 90 degrees. And again, I could do the math and I could calculate the difference between 142 and 90 degrees and rotate that exact angle. But there's an easier way. I tend to let the AutoCAD do the math for me every chance I get. It seems to work out pretty well that way. When I pick the rotate tool, I select the object that I want to rotate. In this case, it's this inclined line, and it's only that inclined line. So that's the only thing that I want to select. I'm going to right mouse click to advance the command. And for the base point, I want it to be this endpoint of the line. So I'm going to rotate this line about this endpoint. And now, if I knew the exact angle, I could type that in now, and I could probably figure it out, and I could probably do it in my head and get pretty close, but I'm going to use the reference option. So I'm going to pick the reference option off the command line here. And by specifying the angle, I could type in that angle, or I could use 2 points to define that angle. For me, it's easier to just pick this end point of the line and that end point of the line. And now I can type in the new angle that I want it to be. Say in this case I want it to be 90 degrees. So I type in 90 and press enter, and so that line goes straight up. Okay, I'm going to do something real similar here again. Now I've got a rectangle and a line here. I want to rotate this rectangle about this corner so that it lines up with this line. So I'm going to use the rotate and the reference option again. So I pick the rotate tool. I select the rectangle, and the rectangle is all one entity in this case. So I wanted to, if this were separate lines, I'd have to pick all 4 lines individually, but it was a rectangle, so it's all together. So that's the only thing I want to rotate. So I'm going to right mouse click to advance the command. Now the base point in this case is going to be this left hand corner. And again, if I knew that angle, the little gap, the angle of this gap here, I could type it in, but I don't. So I'm going to have to use the reference option. So again, I'm going to use the endpoints of this rectangle to define the existing angle, and then I'm just going to go to the endpoint of the green line. So I was able to rotate that without knowing any of the angles, and I lined it up. And we happen to be using this on straight angles and whatever, but it works on any angle degree or any type of element. All these commands that I'm demonstrating work the same way on a variety of different elements. So that's rotate. it's definitely one that you want to get to understand. The copy option simply rotates and leaves the original one alone, so it's not hard to figure that option out. If you have any questions, you can give me a call or send me an email. Thanks.